Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So bear with me, guys. I am actually riding in the car, heading over to my friend's now to actually record a podcast with her husband. However, so much is just racing and just going through my mind. That's like, you know what? Let's just see how this sound, will come out. And if this message is meant to get out there, it'll sound great for you guys. So as I always do, I like to start off with what it is that I am grateful for in this present moment. And I like to start off with 3. However, I'm just going to name 1. So in this present moment, I am grateful to be Black in America. And I feel like I am grateful to be Black in America because I get to be a part of the change. I get to be a part of the change. And that excites me more than ever. I remember at one point saying, things are never going to change. Like, what the fuck? They're just never going to change. And I had adapted that mindset. And then as I started going even, learning more about myself, and learning more about life itself and why we're here and looking at it from a deeper perspective, our spirituality, which is where we start at. Because I had forgotten that I was a spirit having a human experience and not the other way around. So the more I started going within and reflecting, I truly understood that we are all here to evolve and grow. That's why we are here. Even though we have separate journeys and lessons to learn, we're ultimately all here to evolve and grow, So I don't have that mindset anymore where I said nothing's going to change. I was actually a part of the problem just by adapting that mindset of nothing's going to change. So if I felt and I believed that nothing was going to change, I wasn't going to even do anything to contribute to the change. So I'm very grateful to be Black in America because I get to be a part of the change. So as long as you're not driving, I got to put that disclaimer out there. I want you guys to go ahead and close your eyes. Let's ground ourselves. Let's get centered. Let's come from that heart space. And I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time. Deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. As we're breathing in, we're taking in that oxygen. And then when we're breathing out, we are allowing ourselves to relax. And when we do those combinations of a deep breath in and a deep breath out, we are grounding ourselves. We are centering ourselves. And when I say that, that means we're getting back to that oneness, that wholeness where we're not scattered all over the place. So we can actually come from that heart-centered space. So now that you are in that heart-centered space, what are you grateful for? Whether it's one thing right now, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. You can say it out loud, say it in your head, just feel it in your heart. What are you grateful for? Okay. So, unless you've been living under a rock, maybe you have been, or you have intentionally just wanted to ignore things, there's a lot going on right now. And it's not new. Not new at all. So, if you are connected with me on Instagram, you may have been on my live last week. That's Thursday. So I do Talk with Tisha Thursdays, where I go live on Instagram and talk all things, spirituality, life, healing, whatever. people send me questions and I answer them, right? And I kind of just let spirit just guide what it is. But one thing I always say is, bring your questions. Let's talk about this, or whatever is on your heart. So 2 days before that, I kept hearing that I needed to talk about the injustice and the killing of our Black men and the lack of humanity. I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm just emotional right now or what? No, kept feeling it. So I went on my live and to have a conversation and to talk about it and just to come from my perspective and how I'm feeling, as a Black woman, as a Black mother. And, I shared some things, so I want to share it here with you. IG was acting crazy, of course, and then we had to take it over to Zoom. So, some people didn't get to really hit the whole field, but it's all good. I do trust and believe what needed to come out, came out and was heard. However, I shared these things, so I'm going to share them here. When my daughter was in first grade, my youngest daughter, so she's 14 now. When she was in first grade, there was a little boy that was picking on her and just kept bothering her. And, and she would tell me, and of course it makes you, upset as a parent, right? So she took it upon herself to ask him. She said something like, why do you keep bothering me? Like, why do you keep picking on me? I never did anything to you. And he proceeded to tell her that he didn't like her because she was Black. She's in first grade. Shit, did she even know that she was Black? Did I even have that conversation with her, right? So she told me, and I was furious, of course. So my first thought is like, yo, I need to talk to his mother. Where's his mother at? Let's have this conversation. Because that shit was taught. So who's teaching him, right? So I go up to the school to say something, and they're like, no, we can't tell you where they live. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm following the bus home, right? I was like, no, we need to have a conversation because clearly this is being taught to him. And she was like, we can't do that. I'm like, you can't arrange a conversation for us to talk about this? That's strange. That's odd. Okay. So, I told her, you need to handle it. You need to handle it or it's going to be a problem. And then take it as a threat or whatever. It's going to be a problem because my daughter is in the first grade and she has a kid telling her that he doesn't like her because she's Black. But not only is he saying this, before he even said that, he was picking on her. He was, like bullying her, right? Yeah, bullying doesn't matter the damn age, but because you're doing these things, it's affecting her. She's feeling a certain way behind it. And then when she asks you about it, you say it's because you're Black. Nobody should ever have to experience that. And damn sure not in the first grade, even as the child of the one that's saying it, because he doesn't know any better. So I'm not mad at the kid. That's why I'm like, I want to talk to his mother. Of course, it never happened, right? Okay. So I then shared that when Trayvon Martin was killed, of course, as a mother and as a Black mother, your heart just goes out, just breaks. I can't even explain. So I remember having a conversation with him and telling him, yo, I don't care if your car breaks down on the side of the road and it's fucking raining. Don't you dare walk with your fucking hoodie on. You just get wet and you figure out how to call me or a tow truck or whatever the case is. I then also had the conversation with him and I said, if a police officer stops you for anything, you do exactly what he says. So I don't want you speeding. I don't want you back talking. I don't want you fucking flinching and assuming that he knows you're reaching for your ID. You do exactly what it is that he says. Right? So then Ahmad, he was jogging, he was killed. And my son is in Pennsylvania and I text him and I say, please, please, please be extra careful, especially out there because you already know how they are. And I say that because there's already been experience of the racism and the targeting where he was visiting, his dad in that area. Okay. So then George Floyd gets killed and I'm texting same son. Are you good? You okay? Bring your ass back. Get your ass out of that state. Right? These are the text messages, right? So again, as a mom and as a Black mother, you're in fear. And I know we operate either out of love or we operate out of fear. When those emotions kick in as a mother, it's fear. And as much as you want it to be out of love, you're afraid. You're afraid because that could be your son. And it's not one of those hypothetical, well, I mean, this could just, I don't know, it may, I don't think it could really happen. No, my son, my oldest, looks like every Black man that was murdered. You hear me? Everyone. Like, yeah, my son. So I also shared something that I've spoken to about it before, not in a public sense, but saying it out loud to so many people. It was like, it was even more fucked up. And I have two sons. I have a 20-year-old and I have a 9-year-old. But my 9-year-old, his dad is white, he's Caucasian, and he looks just like his dad. And the fact that I can say I have two sons, but one of them is great in America. He's good. You know why? Because he looks like his dad. And people will think that he's white. And when they look at him, they don't see him as a threat. But if you look at my son through their eyes, they see him as a threat. They don't see it as the kind-hearted, the entrepreneur, the hustle, the funny, let's go get it, let's super close with his mother. They don't see that. They see him as a threat. So then what conversation do I have with my 9-year-old? Do I say, oh, embrace your whiteness, embrace your Caucasian, because this is how you can keep safe? But then I'm taking away from this African American that's in him, taking away from our culture, our roots. What do you do? So I'm watching the video as George Floyd was being murdered, and that we're going to call it what it was, murder. So I'm scrolling through social media and that's all that I'm seeing is this. And I'm like, damn, again? What the fuck? Again? But I didn't look at anything because I didn't want to look at this really quick and then hop back into business and do all this stuff because something said you got to put your attention to this. So I waited until the time was right for me, which was later that night. And I watched the whole 10 minutes of the video and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I cried so hard that I felt like I couldn't breathe. And as I was feeling like I couldn't breathe, I was hearing his voice saying, I can't breathe. And then I couldn't breathe even more. And when he cried out for his mother, I about lost it. One, because I'm a mother and that shit fucking rocked my core. And then two, I was like, his soul left. And his soul left his body. And at the time, I didn't know, right when I was watching, I didn't know that his mother had died, 2 years, that same day, 2 years prior. And then when I found out, I said, that makes sense. That makes sense. So it affected me even more, right? So I'm like, what do we do about this? So then I wake up and my mind is still racing. And I'm like, I don't know what conversations to have with my son now, right? My sons. So that night when I was crying, my 9-year-old came into the room to see what was going on. I shushed him out and I turned the phone so he couldn't see. And about 2 minutes later, he came back in the room and he was like, I already seen it. He was like, it's all over TikTok. What conversation do I have with him? Right? So then I'm thinking, so I remember telling my son, you do exactly what they say, right? So here's my thoughts, right? My thoughts now, a conversation I'm having with myself as a Black mother with a Black son, or Black sons. I said, so do I have that same conversation with him? And I say, you do exactly what the police officer says. You do exactly what he says. But George Floyd he wasn't resisting. And he was murdered with cameras on him. He was murdered. Or now does the conversation change? And I say, you're in that situation. You kill them before they kill you. Why should I even have to have that conversation with myself? Why should those thoughts be in there? Why should I be having to have that conversation with my son because he is Black in America versus okay, so what's your dreams? What's your heart's desires? Where there's a part of me that's like, is he even going to live? Is he even going to live to fulfill those desires? And I am all, and you guys know, and I talk about your spiritual growth. I talk about your, spirituality. I talk about, connecting to your authentic self. I talk about speaking your truth, and all of that stuff is very much true. But the one thing that I do know is that we all have free will. All of us, we have free will. So you have free will to look the other way. You have free will to not say shit. You have free will to have hatred in your heart. You have free will to think that you are above everyone and to take a person's life, right? So you get between this thing of your spirituality and your humanism, right? Because we have a lot of emotions, especially as a mom. And it's not to take away from anybody that's, not a mother. I'm just speaking because I'm a mom. And I was a mother from an early age as a child from 16, right? So that's my life, motherhood, right? So Why do I have to have that conversation with myself to figure out the type of conversation that I'm going to have with my sons? And then again, what conversation do I have with my 9-year-old? Because right now, he's getting it from TikTok. He's getting it from TikTok. Something that he's on there that he loves to go on TikTok because he watches stuff about dogs and he's like an animal lover and he loves just a little funny little skits and stuff. So he gets those, but he's getting it from TikTok. What conversation do I have with my 9-year-old? And what conversation do I have with my 20-year-old? So people start rioting. Now, would I ever tell people to go out there and, burn this building down? No. Why would I? But am I mad at people for what they are doing? No. Some people are fed up. They're tired. Colin Kaepernick kneeled, and people had a problem with that. Now you have a problem with him rioting. No, the people rioting. No. I've seen people saying, oh my God, what sense does that make to burn down, Target and AutoZone? And I publicly, on my platform, said, I don't give a fuck about Target. Because guess what? I don't. I spend plenty of money in Target. Target got insurance. They'll build a new one. It'll be better. But you can't bring people's lives back, right? So, again, I don't condone that. You have some people who are opportunists. You have some people who are just doing, they don't care. They're just going to go and they're going to steal. And when you see some of these videos, a lot of the videos that's going around with the rioting and the breaking of the stuff, they're white people. But we don't get that. We just hear it's just the black people. And, I even had somebody post on my page that and it was a white person overheard someone saying, oh, just black people being black people. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? What does that even mean? And a lot of the people who are, vandalizing and destroying, they're young. They're young kids. But guess what? They don't know any better. And when I say they don't know any better, what are they being taught, right? What are they being taught? When you are a young person, you don't even understand discernment, right? And it's not to give anybody a pass at all. I'm not giving anybody a pass, but they're acting out. They don't know how to safely express their anger. I work with people all the time on this. And you know what? They don't even express their anger. They hold it inside. So they internalize it. So as a fucking adult, adults have problems with expressing their anger. They don't know what the fuck to do, so they keep it inside. And then you have the younger ones who are like, I'm gonna break shit. I'm gonna mess shit up. And I'm gonna do all of this so you can see me and you can hear me. So am I mad? No, I'm not mad that they are rioting and that they are looting. Like, people are like, what the fuck is what they are. But the fact to see so many people upset about destroying materialistic shit. So you're saying that materialistic stuff is way more important than a human life? And where's my animal lovers? I love that you love animals, but why is an animal's life more important than a human? And there's so many people who have expressed that and made that very fucking clear. Very clear. Michael Vick, he went to jail for, with animals and the dog fighting thing. He did fucking jail. And you tell us that you don't have enough to charge an officer? And I ain't talking about this case. Let's look at all the other cases that's still there that cops got off. Not even that they got off. They weren't even fucking charged. And this man went to jail for an animal. And again, this is not to disrespect people who love animals. But you love an animal's life? An animal's life is more important than a human? And not even to say that one needs to be more important than the other. They can be equal. No, we're not killing animals and we're not killing, humans. But that's not what's being put out. What's being put out is an animal's life is more important than a human life. The burning of a building or a car or a bus is way more important than a human life. All that shit has insurance. Get it back tomorrow. Good. But a human life, someone's child, someone's husband, someone's father will not come back tomorrow. You cannot file a claim and get a check and rebuild another life. We can't. So what do we do about this, right? What do we do as an individual? So if you are someone who is privileged, you need to first acknowledge the fact that you are privileged. So I hear so many people, I'm not privileged. Yes, you are. It is in your DNA. It is in your fucking DNA. And it is up to you to do the work. Just like when it comes to African American people, poverty, a lack mindset, it's in our fucking DNA. We're slaves. It's in our DNA. And guess what? It is up to us to do the work. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to understand that our current circumstance doesn't fucking define who we are. And even though the whole world looks down upon us, and I say the whole, not even gonna say the whole world, you guys know what I mean, looks down upon us and appears as if they're more superior and we're never going to do this, we're never going to do that. It is still up to us to do the internal work and to rise above. Just like if you are white, you are Caucasian, being privileged is in your fucking DNA. It's in your DNA. And again, it is up to you to do the work. So whenever I'm working with someone on their inner child, getting them connected to their truth, I tell people all the time, there's a story somewhere. There's a story, there's a belief somewhere, and we have to get to the root of that, right? Which is our awareness. So you have to be aware and recognize that you are privileged. You are absolutely privileged. So what are you going to do with that privilege? What are you going to do with it? So if you have somebody racist that is in your family, are you going to fucking speak up and say something when they make a little joke about something? Are you going to check them and put them in their place and say, hey, that's not nice? Or, hey, matter of fact, let's start a dialogue with someone in your family. Why is it that you feel the way that you feel about someone that doesn't look like you? Where is that coming from? Where's your story coming from? Let's change that conversation. But first, we got to have the fucking conversation, right? Right? So we have people who take, women of color, black people, men, whatever. You'll take our money for your business and do all these things, but you're not coming out and speaking about anything. And even if you're not speaking on, so first of all, I feel like if you can't speak about something on social media, you damn sure ain't gonna say shit about anything in real life. Like, you're not gonna say anything. That's how I see it. Because for one, social media, you're hiding behind a phone. And if you don't have enough courage to just put a post that's out there, you damn sure ain't gonna speak up in real life and in person. And that's my belief, right? But we have people who are so concerned with their reputation, with their followers, with their business, the money that they're gonna make or the money that they're gonna lose, that they won't speak up about it because they're afraid. And you know what? I'm not even gonna fault you on that because, again, I work with people every day who have a fear of being themselves and speaking up and speaking their truth because of what other people are gonna think about them and what other people are gonna say about them. So I get it. I work with people. But guess what, guys? We have to do the fucking work. We have to do the work because you're going to stand by and allow people to think that it's okay to say these things about another human, about a person, to treat them as if they're shit and they're garbage. And inside you want to say something, but you don't because you're so worried about what someone else may say. That is the awareness that you have to bring yourself to say, this shit is killing me inside, but I'm afraid. How do I get past this? And do the fucking work. And do the work. And then if your awareness is, I don't even care. I don't care what happened. You then gotta look back within yourself and say, why don't I care? It's kind of fucked up. Why don't I care? And then guess what? You do the fucking work. Whatever that is. You seek out whatever that is, right? Somebody said to me, yo, everybody just unfollow all those people. Like, if you see someone that's just like, on your page or whatever, they haven't said anything about, a black person losing their life, but they're just talking about the rioting and the Target and the communities and stuff, just unfollow them. I said, no, they can unfollow me. That's fine. I said, I teach this. I preach it, whatever you want to call it, about speaking your truth. And if that is your truth, thank you, because I get to see you. I get to see you. I get to see you. And that's what it's about. It's like, okay. And you know what? Guess what? I see you. I see where your truth is. This is what you're, I guess, perceiving as your truth. And what you're not putting out and what you're putting out. I see you. And guess what? When you are ready to do the work, I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be here. And I will still work with you. And I will still help guide you and get to the root of why you feel the way that you feel. Why are you so fearful of what other people may think? Or why you are insensitive to, just humanity or whatever the case is. Whatever it may be, I'm going to still be here. I'm going to still be here. So what do? right? Where do we go from here? Because how long has this been going on? And what about the things that we haven't seen? But because of social media and because we've phones are just leveled up, we're able to catch it on there. We're able to catch it. So we're able to see these things. But how many do we not know about? How many do we not know about? What do we do? I believe this is a spiritual war. Each and every individual person has to go within. Where is your racism at within yourself? Shit, are you somebody that's just like, fuck all white people? That's not cool, because not all white people are bad. One of the best people that I know in my fucking life is white, and that is my son's dad. And the best people that I know. It's not all white people. It's not all black people. It's not all Asian people. But everybody has to go within, right? And we got to check ourselves. What can I do? Am I going to speak up when I hear somebody say something that to me, into my body, into my soul, that I believe is not right? Are you going to speak up? Or are you just going to be quiet and just be like, Are you going to give them a pass? Oh, they're old. They don't know any better. Oh, no. Right? Are you going to support black businesses? Are you going to support black businesses? I know I need to level up in that area. Because I go for convenience. Absolutely. And I will be honest with that. I go for convenience. Oh, let me go get this. Instead of taking the time and researching the things that I know that I like or I may need, research all of them ahead of time and have a guide and support black businesses. Because right now we spend a lot of money. We make up a lot of this business. We put a lot of money, and unfortunately money is power. And that's the crazy part about it, because money is just fucking energy, right? But we gave it so much power, but we hold that power. Because right now they're like, oh nah, you need all of this. You need this right here. So it keeps it like that. But when it truly comes to what matters, when our life, you don't give a fuck about us, but you care about our money. So let's bring the money back to the community. And this doesn't mean just like white people. If you're white and you're listening, support a black business. That's what you can do. You can speak up. You can speak out. Black people support a black business. And I don't want to hear that shit about, oh, black businesses, they don't know how to act. They so ghetto. That's an individual. Don't classify everyone. Don't classify everyone as that. If you had a bad experience with this particular thing, then you find someone else. Because best believe, when it comes to the big corporations, you've had a bad experience somewhere, and all you did was went to a different location. A different fucking location. So don't classify all black businesses as whatever it is that you're thinking. Because there's 7 billion people in the world. And I don't know the numbers of how many black-owned businesses there are, but I know that there's a fucking lot. So let's do the research and start building your guide, right? Let's vote, right? Let's vote. But also, you know what? We need to understand the laws. What are the laws? What are our actual rights? Because if you listen to my last episode, I talked about a meaning behind it. We give things meaning. So when we seen that police officer murder him, we said, fuck that, that's murder. But what does the law say? That's the thing. To us, that's fucking murder. But what does the law say? We need to change these laws. And we have this constitution. We need to change all of that. People say, oh, the system is broken and we need to fix it. It's not broken. It was designed to do this. It was created to do this. So it's just doing exactly what it was designed to do. We need to change it. And we need to take that shit back. And it starts within. Go within. Where are you not speaking your core truth? Your core truth. What can you do to make a difference? Can you support black businesses? Do you go vote beyond the president in your local areas, and you're not voting just because you're Democrat or you're a Republic. You're not voting just off of that. You're really getting to the nitty gritty. What are they proposing? I know people could talk a good game, right? But we can only go off of what we see and what they're giving us, right? What are they proposing? And how does that ring true to you? Are you going to speak up to your family member that makes these comments, or your friend, or whatever the case is? Are you going to speak up? And this goes beyond social media. But yeah, you can share something on social media because that might be your platform. And if you are quick to take the black dollar, you need to be able to be that quick to speak up and to help protect, right? And no, we're not going to say all lives matter, because that is how, and I'm doing air quotes, should. That's what it should be. All lives should matter, right? But what we're seeing is that black lives don't matter. So this is why we're saying Black Lives Matter. Because why the fuck we gotta have a hashtag? Why do we even need to say that? Because of all the experiences that's happening, is that in America, we're being shown that Black lives don't matter. So we have to say Black lives matter. We don't have to say white lives matter because we clearly fucking see that shit. And don't say, I don't see color. I don't see this. We are living in a 3-dimensional world, right? So we have our spiritual, it is all about getting to that place of love, right? But we got to break through and we got to recognize and understand where the root of this shit is. So we can then be able to operate from a place of love. But we can't just be like, oh, I love everyone. All lives matter. Okay. But Black people are being fucking hunted. Hunted. And that's no cap. Hunted and murdered in front of the world. So we have to get to the nitty gritty and say, yo, Black lives matter. And we need change. And what are you going to do about it? Are you a part of the problem or are you part of the solution? What is it? What is it? What is it? I don't know. Like, and I'll be honest with you, it's just really been so heavy on my heart. And I just kept saying to Spirit, is this my fight? Is this my fight? Yes, I can do my part and stuff, but is this my fight? And Spirit said, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep guiding people to their truth. One person at a time. But we have to bring awareness to it. It's the self-awareness. Are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? And you have to go within for that. You have to go within. That's it, guys. That's it. Until next time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.